Hey everybody, welcome back to another King of Silas review. I'm doing episodes 24, 25, and 26 today. And as the more I go through these podcast episodes, the more intense that it gets. And first of all, I want to say, again, sorry for the sporadic upload schedule. Things have been crazy, and I've been going through a lot. But we can get into that later on. So the first episode we'll be going through is episode 24, which is called Ruse. Ruse starts out with Hussein and Asilas discussing plans for North Africa, and eventually the other world leaders will come together and decide what to do with the rest of Africa, west, east, and south, I guess. While all this is going on, China attempts to move in on the Indian-controlled Sri Lanka. Now this opts Jacob to finally, kickstart his future plans into being king. He basically gets a light bulb in his head that says, oh, I'm going to be king someday. Maybe I should go do something about this. Extremely unwise idea. So Prince Jacob decides that he wants to go to India to initiate talks with the Indian government, much to the disapproval of Lord Shelley. But being the impulsive imbecile that Jacob is, he goes anyway. India sends an ICBM to Sri Lanka, and all hell breaks loose. And while he's trying to figure out how to survive, Jacob gets another light bulb in his head saying, you know what? I may not have what it takes to take over the new kingdom of America when my time comes. He's a smart boy, but he's also an idiot. But don't worry, Asilas puts the heat down on the Indian government, and they eventually surrender, giving up Lord Jacob, and he's allowed to return back to the NKA. And at this point, that the new kingdom of America is actually looking to take over the rest of Asia, which is going to be a thorn in the president of China's side. And all while this is going on, Quentin Capone is arrested in India. And that is basically all there is in episode 24. It's a really India-heavy episode. Apparently, the heat that Asilas put on the Indian government wasn't enough, because now they have Quentin Capone. And Asilas needs Capone to win this war. Why? I don't know. Why doesn't he just nuke the whole planet to high hell? Who knows? But anyway, Asilas and Beals get into an argument over India. Beals knows that Asilas, if he goes to India, he's gonna get trapped. But at this point, Asilas comes down with a case of mad king disease. So anyway, Asilas orders the hostage taking of India's prime minister's family in exchange for the release of Capone. Not just the prime minister's families, but many other Indian key officials and their families too. Because beheading innocent women and children is a good way to get your point across that you need this man alive. But in the face of having to deal with the pressure of whether or not to execute these innocent families, women and children mostly, Asilas basically argues with himself whether or not Capone is expendable. He decides that he isn't. So anyway, the Dracs kidnapped and tortured Lord Shelley while she was visiting Australia. 3 of her fingers were amputated and she was viciously tortured. This is a very important detail that you're going to need to know later on. And I know that the last one was kind of short, but this one there's a lot of key details that you need to kind of listen to. And if you're listening to this later on, you've probably listened to the podcast already. So the last episode that we're going to talk about today is Tremble in Revulsion. Now, Asilas has a lot on his plate already. We kind of forgot that Luther got assassinated a couple episodes ago, but Asilas is dealing with trying to get Lord Shelley extradited from Australia, not to mention that Quentin Capone is still being held captive in India. And families upon families of the Prime Minister and his key officials, they're under hostage. But no, Queen Rebekah needs to know what happened to her father, Luther. Well, spoiler alert, Lord Shelley is eventually saved. But is it really Lord Shelley? Remember when I said that her fingers were amputated? That's an important thing to note, because there's a tracking device inside of Lord Shelley, and it's in her fingers. But there's another one hidden in her heart. So they were able to decipher that that wasn't the real Lord Shelley that Asilas was making out with. It was a clone. So they get the real Lord Shelley, and she's extradited back to the new kingdom of America. Back to her home in Oklahoma. I don't want to give away too many details, but after this, Dr. Ezekiel drops a bomb on Asilas. Queen Rebekah is closing in on finding out what happened to her father. Lord Shelley gets diagnosed with PTSD, and that's really the last really thing to note on for that episode. Episode 27 and 28 is available now. Alright guys, that'll do it for today. Like I said, apologies for the sporadic upload schedule. And I feel like this video was kind of rushed out, but I figured that a lot of you have already seen the episodes, and if you haven't, links are in the description down below. I'm just trying to take this channel in a new direction, and I haven't decided which direction to take it in, so I'm kind of wanting to like finish these podcast reviews in time for me to start a new project, which will probably be launching either later this month or early in the following month, because, you know, sporadic upload schedule. This might be my 5th video of the year. I'm trying not to have it a video a month. It's kind of really not healthy for a channel that's small like mine. But if you're into like alternate history and stuff, then you might want to stick around, because I got some treats going on ready to hand out to the masses. God, that was fucking cringy. Alright, take it easy.
I don't even know what kind of show. Yeah, you see me all running, but you're not funny. Not today, bro. Not today, bro. Not today, bro. Yeah.
No offense, but he's from Oklahoma.